The following is a Middle Georgia Sports Network special presentation. Welcome to the Westfield Preseason Special on the Middle Georgia Sports Network. This special presentation is brought to you by Bill and Laura Amos, proud supporters of Westfield Athletics. Now, here are your hosts, Kenny Kofer and Brett Taylor.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Westfield Preseason Football Special here on the Middle Georgia Sports Network. Brought to you by Bill and Laura Amos, proud supporters of Westfield Athletics. I'm Kenny Kofer, alongside me, Brett Taylor. We're here to look at the upcoming football season for the Westfield Hornets. And, Brett, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about, obviously, the big state championship last year for Westfield and what that meant to this school.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Westfield has traditionally been a great football team in GISA, and they've done a tremendous job winning region championships and having, multiple win seasons, 10-win seasons and all that stuff, hosting playoff games. And I believe they had gone to seven or eight state championship games leading up to last year and hadn't come away with the big W. And last season they were able to send Stratford out of the GISA with a big loss. And I know that probably made Westfield feel good that, hey, a Macon school is leaving and we're winning our first state championship. And it kind of validates the fact that, Westfield has done such a great job in their football program over the years. And now they have the hardware to go with, all the success on the field that they've had. So, tremendous year covering Westfield, and I think we talked about that on the broadcast from the state championship night. And it was just an exciting year, all the way from Patnell, the first game of the season, to Anderson Field at Mercer University, in the state championship night.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit on a good point there. I think it meant the most to the Westfield fans in the fact of they did it while the Macon schools were still in there. Exactly. So forever they'll be able to say, the Macon schools may say, hey, well, yeah, you won the state championship, but we weren't there. No, you guys were there, and not only did Westfield beat them, they beat them in Macon, right there at Mercer. And to come back the way they did, down before halftime, I think it was 17 points, and then to get those 10 or 14 points right there before half, and then come out and play strong defense, and then Josh Jenkins sneaking in there in the corner of the end zone, and exciting time, and exciting time for Westfield.
And that, it really has me excited about this season. I think at times last year, Westfield didn't really know how good they were. And when you watch them from kind of away from the field, you really felt like they were, a good bit better than the opponents that they were playing. But it was almost like they hadn't really been in that position before where they were as dominant of a team as I think they actually were. And so at times I felt like they played down a little bit to their opponent. But then they always had that will to win at the end. It didn't matter what had happened. They were always able to overcome the adversity, whether it be, the Stratford game where the Hail Mary at the end of the game tied it for Stratford, or the overtime victory against Deerfield-Windsor, where it looked like Westfield was going to run away with the football game and Deerfield came back. And so it just seemed like that no matter what the adversity was, Westfield was able to overcome that. So this year, looking forward to me, with the weapons coming back offensively, and then the solid defense that they continuously have, I think maybe that confidence will be higher, and maybe they'll see that, hey, we really are as good as we think we are, and let's go execute every week.
Now, you touched on the offense, and that is obviously going to be a big question coming into the season. Now, you obviously got Ryan Fitzpatrick and Giles Amos. You can't mess with that combo. You're throwing Cam Forrester and those guys. I mean, that's A1 top offensive threat, probably in GISA, honestly. The big guys up front, you got all those guys coming back. You got, Cam Washington, Corey Holiday, Deal Amrit. Yeah, all those guys up front are going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely.
I don't think you'll find a bigger offensive line in GISA, honestly.
Yeah, not that we saw last year.
Not that we saw, right. And but the big question mark is going to be the backfield. You had graduate Drew McCrory, Chandler Duggan, Stuart Smith. Those guys accounted for probably over 2,000 yards at least last year. So that's a big situation to lose, a tough set of guys to lose. So it'll be interesting to see who they have step up in that situation. We know Josh Jenkins will be there, but it's going to be interesting to see who we have step up in that backfield, Tanner Westbrook or somebody like that, come in and how they're going to run the ball this year, because that's the main key to Coach Jones' offense.
Yeah, you're right. Coach Jones, he employs the wing tee offense, and really when it's running at its optimum. It's a thing of beauty. It's hard to defend, and especially with the offensive line doing the things that they can do and blocking up front. That's really how you disrupt the wing T. Is you get penetration, you kind of disrupt all the movement and whatnot. But with the offensive line he has, if he can just get some guys in there that hold on to the football and that run in the correct, slot or track, as a lot of coaches would say, I think that they can be very successful. And as we will probably touch on with Ryan and Giles, that threat of passing should make the running game that much more dangerous. They really have a home run threat when you talk about Josh Jenkins, number 21. He's Drew McCoy was that steady Eddie guy. We said it multiple times last year. But Josh Jenkins is really kind of a home run threat. He's like fired out of a cannon. If he gets an opening, he could be 5-6 yards down the field before anybody touches him. That's the kind of threat he is. I think Tanner's going to give him a lot of consistency. And that's really what they need at the wingback position, a guy who's got a little bit of speed and some consistency, making sure he holds onto the ball. Turnovers were trouble at times last year. So I think having Tanner back there will actually maybe improve things. He won't have the home run threat that Stewart and Chandler had last season. But I tell you what, it's exciting because you got another year of Giles, Cam, and Ryan Fitzpatrick all working together, and then you've got some really steady guys in the backfield and maybe some youngsters that might appear.
Yeah, it's exciting because you kind of touched on Josh Jenkins. He is, I think it was in the Bullock Academy game, which we saw him go through the line, and before you know it, he's so little, he's like Warwick Dunn. He gets lost in the crowd, and boom, he's gone. And having him back there is going to be a big it factor for Westfield. And then having the two guys, Giles and Ryan, you can't complain with that. And how about Ryan? He's one of the faster guys on the team, we found out. We didn't know he was so quick, and he didn't run for like the first 8-9 games.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden, I think it was Tift area. We're like, where did this come from? Yeah. And so he's also a guy who maybe that'll open up Coach Jones' playbook. Maybe you can have some more draws by the quarterback and whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, he becomes that much more dangerous on bootlegs because a lot of the passing game is predicated off of the run game and the fakes and the bootlegs and whatnot coming off of the run game. And so when Ryan gets out there now, he's a dual threat on the outside. He's got the legs. He doesn't look blurringly fast and whatnot down on the field. He just eats up a lot of yardage with his long legs. So he gets out on the edge and has a chance to throw the ball with, I'm assuming, multiple people trying to cover big number 12 out there. It should open up some run pass options for Westfield.
And we'll catch up with both Ryan and Giles right after this. We're watching the Westfield Preseason Football Special on the Middle Georgia Sports Network, brought to you by Bill and Laura Amos.
Go free ×3 this summer with ComSouth. Upgrade to any gold or higher value package and get the first month free, get free activation, and ComSouth will make the installation free too. Plus, as an added bonus, upgrade to high def and receive HD TV, you guessed it, free for 3 months. That's a whole lot of free for great telephone, wireless, state-of-the-art cable TV, and high-speed digital internet. Visit ComSouth.net for more details or stop by any of our convenient locations in Cochran, Hawkinsville, Perry, and Fort Valley.
Well, the news is out. Brandon Outfitters has taken Central Georgia by storm as one of the Mid-State's premier outfitters. Located just off I-75 in Perry, Georgia, Brandon has all of the latest gear for any hunting season or just for a nice night out on the town. They still have all of your favorite brands such as Southern Tide, Mountain Khakis, Southern Marsh, Patagonia, Costa, Orvis, and as always, a huge selection of firearms. Brandon also now features new brands such as Sims, Ray-Ban, Kavu, Chaco, Yeti, and much more. Come check them out at 106 Fairview Drive in Perry. They're sure to make your visit one to remember.
Welcome back here to the Westfield Preseason Special here on the Middle Georgia Sports Network. I'm Kenny Kofer, and alongside me, Brett Taylor, now joined by two of the offensive leaders from Westfield, quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick and wide receiver Giles Amos. Guys, obviously last year, winning state championship, what did that mean to you guys to finally bring that home to Westfield?
It's good that finally brought home our first state championship Westfield's ever have, and so good to have that under our belt.
How about you, Giles? How did it feel?
Honestly, I think it means a lot because out of Westfield's always had good teams. They've always had strong seasons. They never could finish the job, and we're the first team could actually do it and bring it home. That's a home wear on our fingers.
That's pretty nice, and also gets you these nice new jerseys too as well. So that's pretty cool. Now, what's the difference this year for you two, especially because obviously going into the season last year, Ryan, we weren't even sure if you were going to be the starting quarterback or not. You didn't come in until the second half of the Tatman game, but what is the difference between last year and this year for both of you now who have kind of put your names out there? You're established stars now, so to speak. And so what is the difference between this year and last year for you?
Feel like that I'm getting more reps at quarterback, so it'll help me during the season, and feel that me and Giles have become close over football and all the sports we played, and we have a mindset that we don't like to lose and we like to win games. And I just feel like after we won the state championship last year, I feel like we're more prepared. We moved on from that, and we feel like we have a really good shot this year.
How about you, Giles?
I think the difference this year and last year is be staying humble and getting the job done. Because last year is in the past now, and it's a new season, new team, new start, and nothing's promised to you.
You had a lot of pieces of last year that are coming back this year, but looking back on last year for just another second, we just kind of wanted to get a feel for when y'all really felt like y'all started to click as a duo. Obviously, the running game was there. It seemed like they're out, but we know when we thought y'all started to click, but when did y'all start really clicking on the field and feeling like you knew exactly where he was going to be, Ryan, and the Giles, you knew he was going to get the ball to you?
Well, me and Giles have always the quarterback and he's always been the receiver since we've always I've always been throwing to him and stuff. So I mean, last year it felt like we started throwing the ball. We started hooking up more towards the end of the season, towards the playoffs, and it really showed in the championship game. And I don't know, the closer games we had to throw the ball, so it just helped out in the long run, I guess. I felt like we really started being able to have our, I guess, duo, you would say. It started in the, I'd say, Southwest Georgia game.
That's what we thought as well.
We got comfortable within the Stratford game is when it started really popping off.
Yeah, I think you caught a slant pass. Southwest Georgia went all the way for a touchdown. Then you got one-handed on the sideline, put it in the half. It was still a touchdown, I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
And then
You caught some huge passes in the Stratford game that were, that really made a difference in the first Stratford game, and then obviously the state championship game.
Well, Giles, one of the things, obviously, the big thing on the fans' mind is how's the knee doing?
Well, we're doing really good. Tweaking it, but well, we're brave, and it's doing all right now. It's not causing any problems. Got every speed, everything back.
Oh, that's good.
Your height.
Recovery. Exactly. Well, what is your guys' expectations for this season? Obviously, with the region changing, the Macon schools leaving, and now you got John Millage and a couple new teams coming in. What do you expect this year for yourselves, both personally and team-wise?
I feel that teams last year, it's always fun playing them. We're going to miss playing them. But I feel like this year it's going to have to be a competition, and we got to respect that. And we know these teams are going to be good, and can't wait to play them, honestly. I'm excited for it. Always, the state championship is what you're going for, and that's what we're aiming for. That's what we're practicing for. So we always go for it. And I feel like people are going to look down on us this year, making teams leaving, and GISA still doesn't get even though we do play good competition. But people are going to look down on us and sleep on us and all, but that could be a surprise.
Well, that's one thing that we've talked about is the fact that with the Macon schools leaving, it's people from the outside, the perception is that the competition is going away. But when you really look at it, last year, 3 of your region opponents, Southland, yourselves, and Deerfield, were all in the Final Four. Only Stratford from the Macon region was there. And then you also got the influx of teams like John Millage and Valwood, teams that were very good in the AA ranks coming, and then you start the season with Southland, who you know is going to have revenge on their minds, and then Valwood right after that. So talk about the beginning of that season, the two of y'all, what y'all foresee coming out of the gates. I know y'all want to get started fast, so I mean, it doesn't get any tougher than those two first games.
Well, I mean, those first two games, I mean, we're looking forward to them, and I mean, we're practicing them all we can and just getting prepared for them as best we can, and hopefully, I mean, it's not bad. I don't know what to say. I mean, I guess we're getting ready to play those games. Yeah, especially probably going to be two best teams on our schedule. So we're, of course, not overlooking it. But we had that date marked on our calendar for sure. Getting ready to play. I mean, we're excited about it. I'm excited about it.
Now, some of the questions for y'all coming in, obviously you two coming back is a tremendous help for the team. The offensive line coming back with Deal and Cam and all the big guys up front. What's the backfield going to look like? No more Chandler Duggan. No more Drew McCrory. No more Stuart Smith. Obviously, Josh Jenkins had some success last year. What are we looking like in the backfield? Who do you guys see as kind of guys that are going to step up that we may not know about just yet, but we'll soon find out once the season starts?
We know Josh can help us back to the fullback because he broke out last year. Did pretty good. But right now, I mean, it's looking like Tanner Westbrook. He's always had some speed the past 2 years, and he's always been able to run the ball. So, I mean, he played wing back on defense, good athlete. And, Robert Myatt, he's a physical kind of running back. I mean, he lowers his head, he can block good player, strong guy. We have Tucker. I mean, he's just a smart kid. He can make things happen. He's a fast guy. He's a smart player when it comes to wing backs and playing football. And we also have Jarius Hart. He's a real fast person.
He was injured last year, right? He was, so he'll be somebody.
Yeah, so I mean.
And Reagan Waller, is that right?
Reagan, but I mean, he can play like wing back, he can play slot back, and he's some split end. He's like an athletic, kind of quick guy, so.
He's the D. Anthony Thomas of Westfield, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay.
He'd be happy to do it. So to piggyback on that, Giles, and I know Ryan kind of hit on some of the guys. Last year it seemed like you all really used the run to kind of set up the pass. Do you think with the experience coming back with you and Cam and some of those guys from the wide receiving core and the tight end position, do you think that y'all's experience will allow it to kind of be a reverse this year where the passing game will kind of help out the run game up front?
Well, yeah, we've always been a running team. That's what we're known for, wing team. That's what we're known for, and that's what we do. That's mainly what we do. But, I mean, I don't know. Personally, I don't know. Hopefully, whatever is best will happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we break out. We got to pass the ball, we can pass it. If we got to run it, we can run it. That's the good thing about it. And I think we'll be strong either way. And I think we'll have some good players running the ball as well.
Well, I think that's going to only help you the fact that you've got yourself and Cam Forrester and those guys. It really will hopefully prevent teams from putting 9 people in the box and try to stop that run game.
All right. Well, we want to thank Giles and Ryan for joining us here on the Westfield Preseason Football Special, brought to you by Bill and Laura Amos. And we'll be back right after this with some defensive guys, Wade Walker and Tucker Moody, right after this. Listen to the Westfield Preseason Special on Middle Georgia Sports Network.
C.W. Williams is the premier home builder in Houston County. With established communities in Perry, Bon Air, Centerville, and Warner Robins, C.W. Williams Homes offers you a chance to build a customized home of your dreams. There are multiple floor plans available, ranging from a minimum of 1,000 square feet to over 3,000 square feet. Log on to cwwilliamshomes.com or give them a call at 478-922-2207 to check their list of plans, communities, and financing options today. C.W. Williams Homes. Let us build the home of your dreams.
Set your own banking hours with Planners First Online Banking. Planners First Online Banking allows you to connect and access your bank accounts 24/7. For those that are always on the go, you can check your balances, pay your bills, transfer funds anytime and anywhere you have internet access. Let Planners First Online Banking make your life a little easier. Planners First, a legacy of excellence since 1896. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Welcome back to the Westfield Preseason Special here on the Middle Georgia Sports Network. Kenny Kofa, Brett Taylor here with you. Now we got some defensive guys here. We got Wade Walker and Tucker Moody joining us. And guys, thanks for joining us here first of all. And how exciting is it going to this season as the state champions of Georgia?
It's pretty exciting when we run out there and have a good chance of repeating as one of those 10 teams. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be competitive too.
Yeah, definitely really exciting. We're trying to keep the mindset of press on. This was on the back of our shirts this year. So we're trying not to really reflect too much from last year. You know, we enjoyed it, but now it's time to move on.
Absolutely. Now, with you guys being a few of the seniors on the team, do you feel like you're the leaders in this team now? You got to step up and have more of that leadership role?
Well, we have so many seniors. We're going to have a lot of leaders, so we're not necessarily going to have one or two. It's going to be all class, probably. We'll help out to make this team.
And you definitely, but seniors are a big part. Definitely have to rely on every year your seniors too.
And y'all kind of have a close group, as we found out right interviews with you guys, you and Deal, you guys and Tanner, I believe, y'all kind of got a core nucleus of guys that y'all hang out with. And I think that it always makes the season better, the team better when you're closer like that. Do y'all feel like y'all know that everybody's going to kind of give 110% because y'all are all friends and you don't want to let each other down?
Definitely. It gives you more reason to try harder for your teammates because you're so close to them.
Yep.
And it makes practice more fun too.
Yeah.
Everything, it makes it all more fun.
Okay, you guys are definitely a fun group, and two fun guys that graduated this past year are Peyton Wainwright and Charlie Ayer. How are they going to be missed? I mean, obviously with their personalities, you know, Charlie always had something witty to say, and you know, and Bull was kind of a dry sense of humor, but he was fun as well. But how, on a football round, how are you going to replace that edge rush on this team now that they're graduated?
Well, they're so long and so strong and quick on their full ends. But Ken Forrester and Colton Lavelle, they're good across the front, and Matt Morris can slip up the junior. So we'll pass him.
Yeah, like you said, even personalities coming out of the field was something, fun to play along with them, so they'll be missed. But we definitely will have some fun.
So it sounds like to me you guys are going to be a little bit bigger up front. I mean, you got Walter Davidson and John McEnroe, and you got Will Adler in the position who's a big guy in front. Sounds like y'all are going to be very tough to run on, and then you throw in yourself with Connor Coughlin. Who's going to be the other linebackers with you two?
Ben Murphy, I think, will play inside with me, and then it'll be Josh Jenkins and Gavin Edmondson playing the other outside linebacker.
Is there a guy stronger pound for pound than Josh Jenkins on this team? I mean, he found us after the state championship game, and the first thing he said was, y'all thought I was small. And I said, you are small, but you're tough, man. I mean, he bounces off of everything on offense, so I'm sure he can run through some stuff on defense. And is strong.
He probably had the play of the year in the state championship game that just bowling off the people. Yeah, that was on the offensive side, so it'll be really fun to see him on defense, see what he can do. But I was going to ask a little bit about the defensive backfield because I know that that's a place you play, Tucker. How great is it knowing that you got you on one side and the Tanner on the other? It seems like y'all are just a dynamic duo in the defensive backfield.
Well, last year we were so close to breaking our team record in interceptions, and I think we only like 1 or 2 more. But I think that was decided this year to
Really? Oh. Okay. So Reagan got some of the same speed and
So y'all gonna have a new nickname? I think y'all called yourselves what, the Lockdown, the SWAT Squad last year. So now that you got Reagan in there,
we might keep it. We're not sure yet.
I got you.
You gotta come up with something.
We're talking about 1 5 zone.
No fly zone? Yeah, because then you got, big number 12 back there as the safety zone. So, well, the biggest thing that's changing this year is the Macon schools have moved on, and you got some new guys in your region. What are you guys' thoughts on the new region? Who are teams that you're kind of circling the calendar to face? Obviously, we talked about a little bit with Giles and Ryan earlier, but, you're starting off the season very tough when you got Southland and Valwood coming in, and then you even got Trinity Christian, who y'all face in the playoffs. So you got a tough schedule. And that's out of the region. Then you get into the region, and you got John Millage and some of the other schools. But who are some teams you're looking at it on the schedule and saying, okay, we really got to be up for this?
Well, you got to come prepared for every game.
Mm-hmm.
And like a couple years ago, we had some teams that we thought we could cakewalk and got beat by them. And
So we need to be prepared for everybody. And Southland definitely, after the playoffs last year, definitely a big competitor. And then John Miller's is another one in our region who we got to be ready for.
And with it'll be different not playing the Macon schools for sure.
Right.
Like that, those are always fun games. But a lot of people think, this new like scheduling thing is going to be easier for us. But honestly, like looking at it, it might be a harder schedule than last year. Is what it really
Yeah, I mean, I think you got more road games, you do home games this year, so that's tough.
Valwood, right there at the beginning in Southland, we're going to know how good we are pretty soon.
And we talked about that. I mean, the fact that you lose the Macon schools, but if you look at it from last year's perspective, 3 of the 4 schools that made it to the semifinals were out of y'all's region.
Yeah.
Were not Macon schools. They only have one Macon school
Right.
in the Final Four, and then now you're bringing up Valwood, who's a great team, and then John Miller.
Yeah, Valwood lost in the state championship to Memorial Day, so, I mean, that they're going to be tough. So you guys got your work cut out for you, but, from the positive things, it sounds like the coaches got you guys in the right mindset where you're not relying on the history. You realize they're not giving you anything this year. You got to be ready to go. So, but guys, we want to thank you for the time to sit down with us and wish you the best of luck this year. We'll come up with some new nicknames for you and Reagan, and we got World War 24 over here. So we'll be right back after this with Coach Jones. You're watching the Westfield Preseason Special on the Middle Georgia Sports Network.
Well, the news is out. Brandon Outfitters has taken Central Georgia by storm as one of the Mid-State's premier outfitters. Located just off I-75 in Perry, Georgia, Brandon has all of the latest gear for any hunting season or just for a nice night out on the town. They still have all of your favorite brands such as Southern Tide, Mountain Khakis, Southern Marsh, Patagonia, Costa, Orvis, and as always, a huge selection of firearms. Brandon also now features new brands such as Sims, Ray-Ban, Kavu, Chaco, Yeti, and much more. Come check them out at 106 Fairview Drive in Perry. They're sure to make your visit one to remember.
On the athletic field and in the classroom, students at the Westfield School are preparing to meet the challenging demands of the 21st century. Our dedicated faculty teaches and inspires students from pre-K to 12th grade to think critically and learn globally, preparing our students for college in a Christian environment that has been the Westfield mission for more than 44 years. And our students excel from football to chorus, art to tennis, and basketball to debate. Westfield students aspire to be champions. It's the Westfield experience. To learn more about the Westfield School, visit our website, westfieldschool.org, or call our admissions office at 987-0547. The Westfield School, ready for college, ready for life.
Welcome back to the Westfield Preseason Special, brought to you by Bill and Laura Amos here on the Middle Georgia Sports Network. Joined with the man himself now, Coach Jones. Coach, first of all, congratulations on last year's state championship. And on a personal level, what does it mean to you to finally get over that hump and win that state championship?
Well, I mean, it means a lot, but, at the same time, it was, we've been there a lot of times, and been there since I've been here 4 times, to be exact, and, it takes good players, and it takes good coaching, but the last thing it takes is a lot of luck, and the ball bounced our way a good bit last year, and it takes that, on some of the other times when we didn't win it, the ball didn't bounce our way. And,
right.
But, our kids worked hard, and I knew when it came close, when it was 24-7, I'll be honest with you, I didn't feel real good. And I'm saying, oh, here we go again.
Right.
But I knew if it got close, just because of the way things happened during the regular season, I knew if it got close, I felt like we were going to win, and that's true.
Yeah, I mean, that last 2 minutes or so of that first half, we kind of touched on it earlier in the program. I mean, when you went from down, like you said, 24-7, I think it was 24-20 or 24-17 going into the half, that really kind of seemed like it stoked your guys up and really got them going and ready to go. So, but how do you feel now as being the hunted instead of the hunter this year? Feel any pressure?
Well, I mean, not any pressure. I mean, I don't feel any different than we've ever felt at the first of the year, to be honest with you. And but I am telling the kids, we're faced with a little bit different story of we've always competed with the Macon schools. And
right.
We don't have the Macon schools on our schedule because of where we are. And for at least the 20 years that I've been here, that has been our rivalry. So but what our kids, and we're telling them is that, some of these teams that are on our schedule that I mean, our kids know that Southland's good, and they know that Deerfield's good, but what they don't know yet, and they'll find out, is how good John Millage and Valwood and some of these people are, and there's more. So we'll probably develop some new rivals, but those, our kids will find out quick how good some of these teams on our schedule is. In some ways, I think our schedule may be tougher than it was last year.
I agree.
Absolutely, Coach. And we talked about that with some of the guys, just about hitting on right out of the gate. You've got Southland and then Valwood, and Valwood made it to the AA state championships last year. And I know you got it at home, but what a tough way to start the season.
It is, and but I felt like playing that tough schedule early last year helped us. And
absolutely.
And if you can survive, that's the biggest thing that people don't throw in the formula is we were real lucky last year with injuries, and we didn't have anything real serious and didn't really lose any starters. So that's where we got to be lucky, and we hope we are. And some years you are, and some years you're not. And got to get through that first part of the schedule is going to be tough.
How do you keep your guys hungry? Obviously, the guys coming back have that state championship ring on their finger. How do you keep them from not, living in the past and concentrating on the game at hand?
One of the things we talk about, and something that's on our back of our shirt is press on, and we got to forget about what's happened in the past, and I'm sure that will take care of itself when you get back on that field. And we don't have some of those seniors out there with us that we had last year, which were some good players, and I just think that'll come. I think our kids will put that behind them, and certainly as coaches, we're going to keep reminding them that last year doesn't have a thing to do with this year.
That's true.
Some people that we're counting on to step up are some of those people that we lost, and we're trying right now to. Last year, one of the things that helped us is in that last ball game and throughout the year, we started 19 players. Well, in the past here at Westfield, it's always been around the 14 or 15.
Right.
And a lot of people going both ways. So that's, we're still early in practice, and we're hunting those people that'll step up where we don't have to play a lot of people both ways. And we hope that happens, but sometimes it don't.
Okay. Yeah, well, you spoke about it, the injury bug, and keeping folks healthy. And we know that Giles was coming off a big injury that he had during basketball season. But everybody seems like they're pretty healthy going into the season. And I guess not having too many people going both ways. We've heard that maybe Tucker, I always get Tucker and Tanner mixed up, but Tanner's probably going to be solidly on defense. But on offense. What do you think about some of the youngsters that you got? Anybody that's going to be coming up to fill some of those roles that you just mentioned that you might have to lean on?
Well, I need to mention something about you just said, and we've only been going a week now. I am taking some of my seniors, like a Tanner, like a Robert Bryant, and they may be up there first right now when we go in, but we don't have any. I'm sure that some of those people that started in the position, they have a real good shot. But our wingback position, where Tanner's at, is still wide open. We got some young people that are going to challenge him and Robert for those starting positions on offense. But Tanner's a starting player on defense. He may move to the offense, and that's where we need somebody to step up on defense. And we're moving. Corey Holiday was offensive tackle last year. We hope he can play offensive guard because that's more important to us. So, it's too early to say yet. And the thing that I would say, though, that is probably one of the biggest positives that we got going for us is last year at the start of the season, it was between Tanner and Ryan at quarterback. And Ryan is going to be so much better this year. That's seen already.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
In practice. That's a big plus for us going into the season. But we lose Stuart Smith and we lose Chandler Duggan, those wing backs. And that was big for us last year because of the speed. And in looking at our team, we got to find those two wing backs. We got Josh Jenkins at fullback, who played quite a bit. We don't lose a lot there, but we lose those two defensive ends. We lose an inside linebacker, we're fortunate that we do have 7 starters back on defense and 7 back on offense, but those positions that we got to fill are real key. On defense, those guys made a lot of tackles for us last year, and certainly everybody remembers all the big runs that our wingbacks had last year. And I think we'll be a different type team. As we're not going to have on offense, we're not going to have those 60-yard plays. Maybe we will, but we don't have the speed that we have.
Yeah.
So, you know, just those things. And like you mentioned before, and I hate to mention names here because I'm forgetting somebody.
Yeah.
But a lot of our positions is wide open. I know I ramble, but.
Yeah, well, that's good, though. I mean, the thing that you like is competition because it kind of elevates everybody's game. It makes everybody bring it every day.
It does.
If they want to get on the field, you know.
Right.
So, Coach, what are your expectations for this season? Obviously, you kind of hit on some of the guys that we think are going to be in battles for positions and whatnot, but what do you really have a realistic expectation? I think everybody from afar would say, hey, Westfield, no doubt, has got to be the number 1 team in that region, probably number 1 team in Class AAA, but what are your personal expectations for this?
Well, I think what people forget is a team like Deerfield didn't hardly lose anybody, and we didn't exactly run Deerfield off the field. You know, people see what Southland did to us in the playoffs. So, but expecting out of our team, I really think that, I mean, our whole secondary returns. We hope we don't have to start all of them. So we think we'll be strong back there. I think a place that we should be strong, and I would love to be a running back running behind them, unless they fool me, is our offensive line.
Absolutely.
Most of them are coming back. We are going to move Corey, but I mean, we got a lot of size up there. We got a lot of experience up there. So I think if I'm a back, and we don't know who those backs are yet, I'd love to be running behind that offensive line because I think that's going to be a strong point.
Okay. Well, Coach, we're looking forward to this season. We appreciate your time, and congratulations on the state championship last year, and hopefully there's another one to come in the near future.
Well, thank y'all for having us.
Yep.
All right. We'll be right back after this. Some parting words from myself and Brett. You're watching the preseason special for Westfield football, brought to you by Bill and Laura Amos on the Middle Georgia Sports Network.
Go free ×3 this summer with ComSouth. Upgrade to any gold or higher value package and get the first month free, get free activation, and ComSouth will make the installation free too. Plus, as an added bonus, upgrade to high def and receive HD TV, you guessed it, free for 3 months. That's a whole lot of free for great telephone, wireless, state-of-the-art cable TV, and high-speed digital internet. Visit ComSouth.net for more details or stop by any of our convenient locations in Cochran, Hawkinsville, Perry, and Fort Valley.
Set your own banking hours with Planners First Online Banking. Planners First Online Banking allows you to connect and access your bank accounts 24/7. For those that are always on the go, you can check your balances, pay your bills, transfer funds anytime and anywhere you have internet access. Let Planners First Online Banking make your life a little easier. Planners First, a legacy of excellence since 1896. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Welcome back to the Westfield preseason football special here on the Middle Georgia Sports Network, brought to you by Bill and Laura Amos. Brett, we got to meet with Coach Jones and some of the offensive and defensive players for this upcoming season. And obviously the state championship is fresh on everybody's mind. But for Westfield, the key is going to be putting that in the past, and as the back of their shirt say, press on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, you just want to build off of that championship that you had last season. You take the experience from that season and all the things that you had to overcome, and you try to use it as basically a well, if you want to say that, to draw from when you were faced with similar adversity and similar experiences during the football season this year. But that's really the only thing that you're using it for. You're using it as a momentum, kind of a spring shot into this season. But you can't use that to think that you're going to beat people with the fact that you're the state champion. Right. You're going to have a target on your back, and that's just the fact of the matter.
Yep, you've gone from the hunter to the hunted. So some of the questions we're going to see this season is going to be, how is Westfield going to fulfill that offensive backfield? What are they going to do for the pass rushing now that Charlie Ayer and Peyton Wainwright have graduated? So there are some questions for this team, but I think we're going to quickly figure that out and try to see who is going to be taking those spots early in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that we've noticed throughout the last year and a half of covering Westfield athletics is the youth that are on some of these teams and how it almost seems like they're going to or they should be better in the coming years than they have been, and that's a scary thought for the rest of the state, especially in sports like basketball and baseball, and especially in football. I mean, Giles Amos, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and that whole crew were sophomores last year. They're going to be juniors and seniors. They have 2 more years here, and this is the start of their junior season. And then you've got, veteran players like Deal Amrit, Tucker, and Tanner that will be playing this year. You also got Wade Walker, who we interviewed here today. Connor Coffin. I mean, you got a lot of guys that have played a lot of downs for Westfield, and all you really need is kind of what happens in college. Those youngsters just kind of come in and fill places and have a lot of youth and excitement. And when you couple that with some experience that you've already got, that can be a dangerous mix for teams to deal with. And I think that, you're always going to have to replace players. You're always going to have to replace people at positions. And I think Westfield faces that, but I think that they've got some youngsters that can come in and do the job.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Jones has kind of established an atmosphere here and a system where it's almost a plug and play.
Absolutely.
Kind of like the San Antonio Spurs of football. So I think Westfield will have some questions early, but I think they got the athletes, like you said, and the youth that has been playing this from, little kid football on up, B team, C team, all the way up. Now it's their chance to get in there and make a name for themselves.
And, I think that the schedule, we talked about it with Coach Jones earlier, the schedule really sets up for Westfield to kind of have a learning curve. I mean, they might lose a game early, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, as we saw last season. You face some tough competition, some playoff caliber competition that you're probably going to see later on down the road, and that's what happened to Westfield last year when they played Tatnall up in Macon, and they got it put on them a good bit, but it was a good experience. They came out of that game knowing that, hey, we can hang with these teams, and we're going to build off on it. And then when things started clicking, so I think Westfield could struggle early. I mean, that's a possibility. I don't foresee it happening, but if they do, you can't write them off, because that's just kind of the team that they are. They seem to overcome adversity as it's thrown at them, and they really have a good group of core guys, and that's going to be important in the success of a season.
And the final storyline heading into this season is the new regions. Obviously, with the Macon schools that we've mentioned throughout the special moving on to GHSA, you now have the John Millage, Gatewood, Westminster out of Augusta. You got Flint River. So you got some teams. Get your GPSs ready, because you're going to have to find these places. But it's going to be new people, and they know the reputation of Westfield, so they're automatically going to put the target on Westfield and say, hey, they're the big dog in this region. We got to go after them and give them give them our best shot. So it'll be interesting to see how Westfield tries to transition and get ready for this new region.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, when you're on the road a lot this season, as Westfield's going to be, and you're facing opponents that maybe you haven't seen before, it's going to be a filling out process, and it's probably going to be one of those things where Westfield has some struggles early in ball games until they get their feet up under them and really can take what they've seen on film and in practice and start kind of synthesizing it and using it out on the playing field against some of these new teams. But like you said, I think John Millage is going to be probably a chief rival within the region. If I had to rank the region right now, the top teams, it would probably be Westfield and John Millage. It's just John Millage really put it on Tatnall last year. We know how good Tatnall was last year, and they're moving up to GHSA. And John Millage has traditionally been a good football program, so that's not going to be any slouch. But I think Westfield, not to discount any of the other teams, but I really think that John Millage is going to be the team to beat other than Westfield in that region, and then everybody else is going to be fighting for everything after that. That's how I see it playing out. But as Coach Jones mentioned, when you insert potential injuries and things like that into the mix, you never know how the football season is going to go. But Westfield at full strength, I'm going to go out on a limb, and we wrote it in our column on the website. I don't see any reason why, if Westfield at full strength and they stay healthy and they continue to improve like they have, that they can't repeat the same success that they had last season.
Well, we'll find out what happens. We're just a few short weeks away from the first game of the season against Southland, so be sure to stay tuned to all of the action on Middle Georgia Sports Network. We'll have a lot of exciting specials and a lot of interviews and and a lot of original coverage here on midgasports.net. We want to thank Coach Jones for sitting down with us here today, as well as Ryan Fitzpatrick, Giles Amos, and Wade Walker, and Tucker Moody. We also want to thank Bill and Laura Amos for sponsoring this preseason special, as well as all of our other sponsors. So, Brett, any final words before we go?
Just that we're looking forward to the season. And we had a great first year broadcasting Westfield Athletics last season, and we hope to kick it off and continue that trend going into the 2014-2015 sport or athletic sports seasons here at Westfield. And we're hoping to bring you bigger and better coverage as the seasons go on, and just looking forward to get football is always that exciting time to get things kicked off, and big season coming up for Westfield football.
Can't wait. So be sure to tune in on August 22nd at 7:45 for our Brandon Outfitters pregame show as Westfield takes on the Southland Raiders. And I'll get it right. I'll probably mess up calling the Buccaneers a few more times, but they are the Raiders.
Absolutely.
And we're excited and ready to see that. So follow us on Twitter at midgasports.net, as well as on Facebook as well. Go ahead and like us on Facebook. So for Brett Taylor, I'm Kenny Kofer. You've been watching the Westfield Preseason Football Special on the Middle Georgia Sports Network.